Kyle Larson gets the pole, Hendrick dominates qualifying, and 4 cars will compete for 2 spots in the duels. Coming up next. What's going on, everybody? If I haven't earned your subscription, hopefully today is the day I will earn that subscription. All right, Kyle Larson starts the season the way he finished it. In the 1 spot, he got the pole for the Daytona 500, but that was only part of the story because Hendrick once again dominated qualifying for the Daytona 500. They have 4 of the top 5 spots. Eric Almirola broke it up, so a good run for Eric Almirola. And Trackhouse also made some noise. They came into the season and they have showed at least some qualifying speed very early on. So Trackhouse has sort of announced its presence. They are not here to mess around this season. But that is only a small part of the story because in the duels, we've got 4 drivers going for 2 spots. Let's take a look at the duel lineups. In Duel 1 on the front row, we will have Kyle Larson and William Byron Jr. Chase Elliott and Ross Chastain are next. Daniel Suarez, Daniel Hemrick, Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, Brad Keselowski, Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric, Eric Jones, Kurt Busch, Justin Haley, Cole Custer, Todd Gilliland, Noah Gragson, Landon Castle, Kaz Grala, BJ McLeod, and JJ Yeley round out your 11 rows, 21 cars in that first duel. Duel 2 will be Alex Bowman and Eric Almirola on the front row, followed by Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Harrison Burton, Joey Logano, Christopher Bell, Bubba Wallace, Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon, Michael McDowell, Ty Dillon, Kevin Harvick, Chris Buescher, Corey LaJoie, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Cody Ware, Jacques Villeneuve, Greg Biffle, David Reagan, and Timmy Hill. Okay, so let's take a look at that first duel. A lot of people are saying that is the harder duel because they think it's got more heavy hitters in it. Obviously, there are 3 Hendrick cars in there, and there are way more Chevrolets than anything else. So that looks to be a Chevrolet heavy duel. I would expect all of the Chevrolets to work together there. And so I expect, at the very least, probably a Chevrolet is going to win that race. Most likely a Hendrick car. And, you know me, I'm personally thinking Kyle Larson will win that race. But more importantly, in that first duel, there will be 2 cars going for 1 spot. That's basically how this whole deal is going to play out, and that is going to be Kaz Grala and JJ Yeley. Now, I think, no disrespect to JJ Yeley's equipment, MBM, but I think Kaz Grala, even though that deal came together late, I think he has a slight advantage in equipment. I think he's got a Hendrick engine in that thing. Not exactly sure what JJ's got, but I would have to lean toward. And just overall, I think Kaz Grala is probably a little bit better driver than JJ Yeley, especially at this point in their careers. So I'm going to give the nod to Kaz Grala to get that bright rainbow-colored heat wave visual or whatever the sponsor is there to get into the field there. But yeah, those are my picks. I think Larson will win the race, and I think Kaz will be the car that races his way in. But the story in that race is definitely going to be Kaz versus JJ. The winner of the race, not really as important. In Duel 2, you have 10 Fords and 5 or 6 Toyotas. I think it's 5 Toyotas. And you would think this would be an advantage for Ford, except the Fords are broken up in a manner that there's like 2 Penske cars. I expect 2 Penske cars. One's a Wood Brothers car, but you've got a Wood Brothers car and a Penske car, but I expect them to work together. That'd be Harrison Burton and Joey Logano, but I fully expect the Toyotas to work together and just completely dominate this because they've got Bubba Wallace in this too. I think the only Toyota that they are missing is Kurt Busch, who is in the first duel all by himself, basically. So I expect the Toyotas to dominate this one. They will probably line up and work together and just make sure that they all get good starting spots for the 500. But I think the only people that can make a little bit of noise is if McDowell, Logano, and this I'm just going off manufacturer because the manufacturers seem to work together at these speedway races. Michael McDowell, Joey Logano, and Harrison Burton, if they can get in a train and work together, and possibly Austin Dillon if he works with them too. Those RCR cars always have speed there. But I expect this race to actually be dominated by Toyota, even though there are way more Fords in this particular race. And finally, qualifying was not without a little bit of drama. At about midnight before qualifying, the teams were told that get the skew out of the bodies. They had skewed the bodies. Skewing the body is when you hang the body on crooked or at an angle to how the chassis is actually lined up. They were told to take the skew out. NASCAR has said no more skewing around in the Cup Series. So the skew is gone from these cars, but it tells you, even from those stiff fines that I mentioned on an earlier episode, NASCAR is still going to have to enforce the rules on these guys. They're apparently not scared. And I would say Rick Hendrick has announced that they're definitely not scared, because look, those cars just look way faster than everybody else. So I think Rick Hendrick is going to put NASCAR to decision to enforce some of those hefty rules that they came out with earlier this season. And the other drama from this, obviously, is that Jacques Villeneuve and Noah Gragson locked themselves in to the 500. So that is why the other guys have to race their way in the duels. Why I didn't mention them having to race their way in, because they have already locked in on time. All right, guys, that is all I've got for you today. If you like the content, feel free to subscribe down below. If you got a comment, leave it down in the comment section. And other than that, thanks for your time. Peace.